the intensity of a wild apple is going to be more than a cultivated apple, because a wild apple has a harder life. It's fighting disease, it's fighting pests, it's dealing with drought conditions, whereas cultivated trees, they have a more consistent output because they're getting taken care of in a different way, but it's like, okay, is the fruit going to be as flavorful? Living the way that I do definitely has a big impact on what I end up producing, like it in ways that I think that I didn't even really expect. Because partly what's happening is I'm walking a lot, I'm outside all the time. My eye is caught by, oh, what's this plant? Like, what's growing here? What's this flower? I would say that experimentation is a big part of what I do. Like, that is my favorite thing, is to experiment and to be curious about something and to wonder what would happen if. I come from the bar world where it's like I'm working with cocktails and you figure out if something's gonna be good in a couple minutes. And this is months and years. And it really forces you to slow down and to be patient and to just kind of like roll with the punches. I make a dandelion cider, I make a mugwort cider, goldenrod cider, I make a cider with autumn olive. I made a cider last year with cedar berries, which are berries of a cedar tree. I discovered these wild apples 7 years ago. They've had a complicated life in that they were dug up and moved over here, and some of them survived and some of them had to be regrafted. And this year they're producing enough apples for the first time that I can make an estate cider with them, which is incredibly exciting. They're my babies. I made them. They've really struggled, and they're so fruitful this year. And I get to make something that I get to share with other people from that, this vision of years and years. And so that was an experiment as well. Is this gonna work? And years later, we're like, well, I think so. We're on this deck that I built myself with the help of some of my friends here that's out in the middle of a field. It's totally off the grid. When I first built this space, I was living in this tent. And then eventually I got this little trailer, a pop-up that the sides have been replaced with wood. So I don't have electricity or running water. I have a little bit of solar. There's an outhouse behind me. I have an outdoor kitchen under a shared pole barn and a heated outdoor shower. I live outside mostly in the summertime. Now it's getting colder. It becomes a little more of a challenge for sure. Even though it's pretty cozy in the trailer, I have a bed and lots of blankets, and I have like a little propane heater in there. Doing the dishes outside and having your hands get wet when it's 40 degrees, it's cold. Most of my work is very solitary. It's me in my head working stuff out physically or mentally. I like having time to work through things. I have friends that come in and help on big projects, but like, this is me doing stuff alone. And so it's really personal, but it's also like limited by my own time and resources. There's definitely a romantic side to what I'm doing. I think often about how much I talk about that versus the reality of what the hard work is. You know, like I said, walking around and picking flowers is like really cute. This is really nice in the summertime, but the reality is it's really hard. I don't know if you can tell, I'm like shaking a little. It's cold. It's cold right now. It's gonna get up to 70 today, but like, it's cold, and working by yourself is hard. It is literally hard labor. It's stacking heavy boxes, it's moving heavy things. I'm covered in cuts and bruises all the time. I pee outside, which is not for everybody. The romance is part of it. And I want to talk about that because that is part of that like joy and beauty that I'm trying to access and share with people. But I also want to share with people the reality of how hard it is. Don't have a lot of days off. I don't make a lot of money. I make enough money so that I can support myself to do this. But I'm also living a life that makes me feel good and that I'm increasingly proud of. If you're not happy, how can you make something that's beautiful or special or tastes good? I mean, you can, I guess. I'm sure there are plenty of miserable people out there doing lovely things, but I am not that person. And the happier I have become, the better my work has become. My name is Nika Carlson, and I'm Greenpoint Cidery.